So, here I am. This is not one of my regularly scheduled times to stream, but I'm going to be doing some calls today. Going to be figuring some things out about this budget, and I wanted everybody to be able to see exactly what I'm finding. So I am watching the live chat. You're welcome as citizens of Ottawa County, citizens of other counties too, I guess, if you want information about this, to ask questions. There's a chat. You know, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure how well the chat works on Restream, but yeah, I'll find out. Actually, I'll see if chat pops up here when I use. You know what, never mind. I won't. I'll see if it pops up when I use my own website. It does not. Weird. I'm going to spend a couple seconds to try and figure this out. So if you have any questions for our Ottawa County Health Department officials, anything that would kind of figure out what is going on in our county, what we're spending our money on, I am more than happy to take those questions and ask them of our officials. Okay, so if you chat on YouTube, it pops up on my chat. If you chat on Facebook, it does not. So, you know, I guess I'll just watch the Facebook chat and yeah, I'll just watch the Facebook chat and we can keep up on that. I just have to mute it. Give me a second here to get that set up. This is a very informal thing. Get that set up. This is very mute that. Okay. Now I can see the chats. If you guys have things that you want me to ask again, just let me know. So I'm looking at the budget here. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. And then there's various news articles. The number, the percent on the budget cut keeps on going up. First it was 60, then it was or first it was like something like 50, then it was 60, then it was 88. Is what we're up to now. Fox 17 News reported 88% budget cuts here. Health officer proposed 88% budget cut would likely close Ottawa County Health Department. So what Adeline Hambley is saying is that if the taxpayers give them 2.5 million, they will not be able to function with that. Sorry, my rabbit is just sitting there licking her cage. I don't know, she must get that from me. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. That would be good. So this is the proposed health department budget. Fiscal year 2023 revised. We spent about almost 700,000 in the budget. They're requesting 189 for next year. Communicable diseases. We spent, so in 2020 we spent 874,000. We're now looking at $1,378,000 being proposed for this. Or no, sorry, 100 million or 1,311,000. Sorry, that was the actual for last year. So it kind of shot up quite a bit. Immunizations. We're spending a lot of money there. They're only asking about 360,000 there. They're asking 1,470,000 for EH Food Services. Now, and I've got to confirm that this is actually like what they're asking. I mean, it looks like it. It's fiscal year 24 requested budget. If anybody else has or a different sort of take on that and what exactly that is, I'd be happy to hear. Actually, I don't really need this up. We're gonna put Facebook chat up here. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but that's okay. Again, if you have any questions for our Ottawa County Health Department, please put them up in the chat, and I will, because I'm going to be calling people when I get done looking at this budget and trying to find previous year budgets as well. So family planning, the request is for 1 million. We spend over $1 million on family planning. I find that a little difficult to believe. Let's see. Public health. I'm not understanding this budget at all. You know what? I'm just gonna call one of our commissioners here, see if we can get a little clarification on some of this.
to an automatic voice message.
Okay, just tried calling Doug Zylstra. He's the one that answers me most often. And I was thinking he could give us a little clarification on what I'm looking at here, because it's a little weird. So you know what? I'm just going to call the Ottawa County Health Department. That sounds like a good place to start. Or no, rather I'm going to call finance department. And I think they will be able to help me with some of these things. I'm not in the there it is. Calling the Ottawa County Fiscal Services right now. I spoke with Karen Karazinski yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And no. Sorry. I spoke to her yesterday, and she's the one that pointed me toward this budget as being really one of the only ones we can look at. So I'm going to give her a call again. See if maybe we can find something else out. Then calling Ottawa County Fiscal Services Director. See if she'll pick up.
Hello.
Hello, Karen.
Hello. Yes.
Hi. This is Don from the Home Splitcast. We actually spoke yesterday about the budget.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Who is this? What? Don from who?
From the Home Splitcast.
From the Home Split?
Politicast. Yeah.
Oh, Politicast.
Yeah. Sorry. I speak a little fast. So I'm just looking at this budget, and I'm wondering if you can clear up a couple questions that I have on it. So I'm looking at page 61, this proposed budget to the health or the finance and administration, and it's telling me public health up here. It says fiscal year 2024 requested budget, and then it says 19,454,161. Is that how much they spend in total with contributions from the county and all of the grants that come in?
Okay, hold one sec. Let me look at some.
Okay.
I wanna. So, the public health department in the county budget, and they are they have multiple activities,
Okay.
right, is listed below.
Yeah.
So, and it's they would have an expense budget, an appropriation of the 19.4. And the reason I stop for a minute is because of that 19.4, there's a portion of that is in the public health fund, but they also, um, they are, the medical examiner is in the general fund, which is a separate, it's included as because it's in their department, so it gets a little confusing.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
So you're saying
It includes must include some things in other funds.
Okay.
Because if you're just looking at the public health activity, it's our expenses are 17.4 million.
Okay. Is there am I able to look at just the health department?
Well, that is the health department does a lot of things. I'm trying to figure out which other one is not in the general fund or is not in the health fund. But as a department, that is true. But the funding, isn't all in the public health area. Like the medical examiners is different.
Okay, so what exactly would do the medical examiners like? What would they be responsible for? Are you able to shed some light on that, or just some like general things that they'd be responsible for?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
It's probably. I can generically tell you, but very generically, it's probably better for you to talk with someone at the health department. They
Okay.
could explain that more. I just want to peek at something real quick. Yes, as a department, that's basically what's saying. But just there's a lot of activities there. That's I guess is my point.
Okay.
And so, medical examiner would be one that wouldn't be. It's just their funding mechanism is in the general fund as opposed to the public health fund, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, but what was your other question? So yes, that is their appropriations.
Okay. who is there? Would somebody in the health department be able to run me through just some of these things and what they encompass? So like I'm looking at, or maybe you could. I'm not sure. I'm looking at communicable disease as a category, and it's saying they're asking 1,311,000. So, do you know like what exactly would go into that?
Again, I do in like very generally, but it's probably better to get that information from the health department. They'd be able to explain that much better to you.
Okay. And so I think a lot of my questions may want to be going to the health department then. Is there somebody in particular that you know of over there that I should be aiming to talk to, or would I just be able to call our health department?
You could call the house. I would obviously the director, or Addie Hambley, or Marcia Mansray. They could talk about their programs.
Okay, perfect. Well, and I'll give them a call then, and yeah, I really appreciate you talking with me and helping clear that up.
Yeah, I didn't help you very much.
That's okay. You did your best, so I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. That wasn't as informative as I would have liked it to be, but that's okay. We can call the health department. Let's see if we can get nope, that's not what I want. See if we can get either Adeline Hambley or Miss Mansaray on the horn here. And this is things that I would hope that our local news agencies are doing, but I don't really see that. I see a lot of like taking tweets and stuff from different places. The what do you call it? Holland Sentinel. The Holland Sentinel just posted a tweet from Adeline Hambley. So I don't know that they had contact with her. Let's see if we can get a little bit more from our health department. Hi there, little rabbit. Okay. Got a number here. Let's see if we can get Miss Hambley on the phone. Give me a second to dial here. 616-846-8360. Give it a try.
And thank you for calling the Ottawa County Department of Public Health. If this is a medical emergency, please hang up and call 911. For additional information and services, please visit www.miottawa.org/health. If you are calling with a question or concern regarding COVID-19, please press 4.
Not exactly.
Si estás llamando con una pregunta o preocupación con respecto a COVID-19, por favor, presione 4. For clinical services, including immunizations, family planning, and STDs, please press 1. For environmental services and all other departments, please press 2. Si usted tiene una emergencia médica, por favor, cuelgue.
All right, let's try 2.
Please wait while we transfer your call.
Ottawa County Environmental Health.
Hi. I'm not sure this is the right number. I was calling.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
So I was hoping to speak to either Marisa Mansoray or Adeline Hambley. Are they in your building or?
Yeah, they're out of here. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not sure if either of them are in, depending on kind of what questions I might be able to direct you to somebody else too.
Okay. So I'm looking at the proposed budget. The one that
okay.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you like from the media or just a resident or?
So I am just a resident. I do.
Okay.
I do some media stuff.
Okay.
Not really an established newspaper or anything though. So.
Okay. Yeah. Because we do have our communication specialist, Allison Clark. She's been taking all phone calls related to that.
Okay.
I can send you through to her phone. She is currently in a meeting right now, but she has requested that anyone who has questions leave a voicemail on her phone so that way she can get back to you with more information. She's actually getting more information now as well, too, about everything.
Okay.
So I can send you through to her phone if you wanted to leave her a voicemail, and then she can give you a call back about it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, wonderful. What was your name?
Don.
Don. Okay. And then let me get you transferred over her voicemail, and then she will be able to get back to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, you've reached Allison Clark at the Ottawa County Department of Public Health. I'm away from my office right now, but if you'd like to leave me a message, I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Thanks, and have a great day.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Hi, Miss Clark. My name is Don. I'm calling. I'm a citizen here in Ottawa County, and I do host a local podcast. And I'm looking at the budget, and I have some questions about how it breaks down and some of the numbers. Like I'm looking at the proposed need here for the public health, and it's not adding up with the health department's numbers, and I'm just looking for a little clarification on what exactly this budget is telling me. So I would love to hear back from you on that. My number is 616-287-0050. And I'd love to talk to you about that when you get a minute today. I will be available for most of the day. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks a lot. Bye. Okay. That amounted to about what you heard. She's in a meeting. Hopefully she is able to get back to me soon. I'm going to go grab some coffee because I am in need of some coffee, actually. I'm going to turn on some music here. Some music that I have rights published for so that I don't get copyrighted, because that would suck. We know this one. All right, I will be back in just a minute. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. All right, so I'm back with coffee. Yes. So while we're waiting for Miss Clark to call back, I think that we can look at some of the yeah, we'll look at some of the news articles covering this. I know there's not a whole lot that our news is really giving us, but I did read one from what is that publication again? Holland Sentinel. Did read one from the Holland Sentinel about the health department going out of business or shutting down for the year, all that good stuff. So let's see about pulling that up. Just a second, I want to get this. Ooh. There we go. All right. Actually, well, I'm going to try giving Commissioner Bonema a call. Love coffee. Here we go. Commissioner Bonema. Hopefully he is able to why is my good boy, Bugs. Good boy. Alright, so interesting. Give me a second. Oh, what's this? Voice. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Trying to get my Google Voice set up. It said something about I'm not able to, like my browser is stopping me from receiving calls. That's kind of concerning. I'm like, hello?
Hey, is this, do you go by Tom or Thomas? I don't remember. Is this Commissioner Bonema? How are you?
Hey, Commissioner Bonema, I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, good. I just was scrolling through, checking over comments, and somehow I missed yours from yesterday, asking to chat a little bit. I thought I'd just give you a call.
Yeah, that's great. I was actually just about to call you because I'm looking at our health department budget, and I'm kind of confused about some things. So, do you have it up in front of you?
I don't. I'm sitting in my car, but I'll do my best.
Okay. So I'm looking at the fiscal year 2024 requested budget, And it says this item is the amount being requested is 19,454,000, and I had spoken to Karen Karazinski, and she said that that's got some other stuff rolled into it. That's not just the Ottawa County Health Department.
Yeah.
Can you just confirm like what they were operating on last year, and then it's 2.5 million is the target for this year, right?
Yes, that's what an email specifically was written by Administrator Gibbs to Adeline Hambley, requiring her to present a revised budget at $2.5 million, plus removing all COVID grants. So that's what the email said. I think that email's actually been published, and it's maybe in the Sentinel or Fox or MLive. I've seen it somewhere. It's out there.
Okay.
And so you can read it for yourself. And so the other things that you're asking about, so COVID grants. So if they were to follow the letter of what Administrator Gibbs is asking for, we have grants for lots of different COVID-related issues. It's easy to think, COVID-related would be, to cover the expenses around administrating vaccines and buying more PPE and that type of thing. But we actually have quite a few grants that are associated with alcoholism, substance abuse issues that rose dramatically during the shutdown. And those grants, which are federal funds coming to us and state funds coming to us, are there to help us provide services and counseling materials to people that are suffering from those situations. If we don't have access to those, in quotes, COVID grants for alcoholism and drug abuse and substance, then it's got to come out of the general fund. And that's using just our tax dollars here in Ottawa County versus our state and federal tax dollars. So it's fiscally responsible for us to use those funds if we're going to try to, it's nice for us to not have to spend all of our own dollars to offset the shutdown and other negative effects that came from it.
Okay.
Let me just talk about the two kinds of grants too, just so you know.
Okay, yeah.
There's grants out there that are straightaway grants. They just give you, say, $100,000, just a round number, and they say you can use this $100,000 to spend on all of these approved things. At the end of 24 months, whatever you haven't spent, you have to send back. Okay, so that's one kind of grant. The other kind of grant is called a reimbursement grant, and we have quite a few of these as well, where they say you can spend up to $100,000 on doing these. And by the way, it's not 100; it's $1 million, it's $2.5 million, it's $3 million. So we have between $2.5 and $5 million worth of grants we have access to. But if you spend money on these things and then send us proof that you did, we will reimburse you for spending that money.
Okay.
So you've got where they hand you the money, and then also reimbursement grants, where once you spend the money, they reimburse you. So when you're doing your budgeting, and you're losing access to all of those funds, those funds do a lot of other things too, because the general fund is also spending money to make sure. Have you ever bought a house with a water well on it?
I have not.
Okay, so you know that they're pretty popular around here. Lots of people have wells.
Yes.
That live in the off grid, or at least outside of city limits. It's very, very common. Well, that transaction cannot take place until the health department has inspected the water well to make it safe, make sure that it's safe, verify that it's safe for the next family. So let's just say you're a general family moving into Ottawa County. We're the fastest growing county in the state of Michigan out of 83 counties. That's a big deal. We talk about that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can't finish your real estate transaction until it's inspected. In 2014, we had 2 inspectors quit at the same time, and it caused a backlog where people were waiting for they had executed contracts, but they couldn't actually move into the home and complete the contract for 2 to 3 months because they're on a waiting list to get inspectors to come out and make sure that their water's safe. So same thing goes with, let's just say you are a developer and you want to put in a new neighborhood. You need perk tests done in the ground to make sure that that's possible. You can't get inspectors to do that. Let's say you want to open a restaurant. Can't get an inspector to do that. Let's say you have a restaurant that serves a lot of our public and tourists, and they've been, caught with some violations. Well, you can't, you only have so many staff to go around. You want to follow up on them, make sure that they're complying, but you can't send the staff there when you need to because you've got too many other requests going on. And then, restaurant does something, people get sick. That hurts tourism, that hurts business, that hurts our people. So there's a lot of development and common sense things other than, administrating vaccines, which we really don't do anymore, and buying PPE, which we really, that was a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the rubber hits the road today that I'm concerned about as a business person, that, we are disenfranchising a lot of people that are just trying to go about their daily life. Buy a house, use a restaurant, hire people, employers. I could take it to the next level. Employers that are considering coming here to grow, they want to be able to have their workforce, here and taken care of. How do they come in and expand or build new facilities when, there's months and months of backlogs of, because there's lack of staff? So those are hypothetical scenarios that we should be aware of. Obviously that's not where we are at today because the cuts haven't taken place. But if we were to actually do these cuts to the levels that Chairman Moss and Administrator Gibbs are suggesting, these are the expected ramifications. We also have state mandated services that we have to provide. If we don't have those services being provided, we are in violation of those. So is Administrator Gibbs asking the health department to violate state mandated service requirements? I don't know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt right now and say, hey, they're just asking for this. They're not saying do this. They're just trying to see what if. But when you ask for cuts that deep, it's not reasonable. And to do it the way that he did it, if it were me, I would have had a sit-down conversation to say, hey, we are, of course, no longer in the midst of the pandemic. We are not having to ramp up like we have over the last couple of years. Are there places that you would agree that could be cut back and we could, create some savings for the people of Ottawa County? Because I'm for being fiscally conservative, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
Start with a common sense approach like that. I had, I forgot. Do you go by Tom or Thomas?
Let's do Thomas. Yeah, I usually go by Don on the show just because there are some people that don't necessarily like people going public, and so I just make it a little bit harder for them to figure out who I am and where I live, and
Gotcha.
yeah. So yeah, Don would be great.
So Don, when I had a conversation with one of the senior executives in the health department yesterday, I asked him, I said, are there cuts that you think would be acceptable and reasonable and worthwhile pursuing? And they said, yes. Actually, the stated cut, which was we just want to return to pre-COVID levels. If we were to look at the numbers from 2019/20, the budgets for recently, those are reasonable and workable scenarios that they could cut and get to those numbers and still service the public the way they need to and feel confident about that.
Okay.
And I said, well, how much money would that save us if we were to pursue that? And she said she started doing the calculations with me over the phone, and it would be somewhere around $1 million or north of $1 million. Well, that's a meaningful amount of money. I mean, that's that's not a bad place to step to. And then maybe the year after that, 2025, 26, maybe we look at where we're at then, and if more can be done, we consider that. If we're at where we can't go any further, then we know. But at least we took advantage of what we think we can do, rather than having something like this that creates chaos.
Okay. So can you tell me again who that was that you spoke to? Because I see some of our budget items, and I'm a little confused on some of them. I don't know if you would maybe be able to clear them up. But so who is it that you spoke to from the health department?
Well, I don't have their permission to use their name, and so I want to respect that. But I will say that it's an executive in the health department.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious about so you mentioned that Administrator Gibbs said that he wanted all COVID-related spending cut from the budget. And then I think, you had mentioned like grants going toward, water testing and other things that aren't necessarily COVID-related. How are we determining that those things, that all those grants that are able to go to other things would be a part of those COVID-related cuts?
I don't know that the general fund dollars in the health department are grant dollars going to pay for perk tests and inspections, but if we no longer have those grants to spend money on the things that are approved COVID-related things like, attending to people with alcoholism and substance abuse, then obviously they're going to have to come from the dollars being used to do the perk tests and health inspections at restaurants.
Okay, so I see where the connection came in there. Just wanted to clarify that a little bit. Do we have this may have just been an example, and that's totally fine, but do we have a lot of people utilizing services for alcoholism and drug abuse related to the pandemic currently?
Well, I think that's something that was asked for in this last Finance and Administration meeting, was to get the actual count of the people using the services, and I think that was a really good question. I don't remember if that came from Chairman Moss or if that was Gretchen Cosby that asked that question, but I think that's a very good thing for us to take into consideration. It's good to know how many people are accessing these individual programs to see, where the need really lies, and do people know that these services exist? In a related topic, I'm finding out that there's a lot of, we're talking about veterans benefits too right now, but there's a lot of veterans in the area that did not know that there are funds available to them from the county to help offset some costs of burying their loved one. Now they have to qualify for it, but we have quite a few benefits in the county that we could do a better job of advertising to the public to let them know that they have access to it. And I'm all for that. That money was set aside to bless them for their sacrifice, and care for people in our community. Let's make sure that it gets used.
Absolutely. So, man, my brain just jumps all over the place. You mentioned something, and then I'm like a squirrel. I go off down that rabbit trail.
Well, we can stay on the health department, or if you want to talk about veterans benefits, I'm glad to chat more on either of those.
Let's.
Where I'm at with the health department right now is that I do have a good working relationship with people there. As you know, I held them responsible for what I call activist and vulgar website links that they had on the health department's website. I sat down with them respectfully, had a conversation about this. They claimed that they were unaware of the content behind those links. Mm-hmm. Once they reviewed that content, they agreed that it was not. They agreed that the content that the health department should be linking to should be apolitical, meaning not divisive. It should just be factual, basic information to help people make informed decisions.
Yeah.
It should not be activist in nature. If anyone goes to powertodecide.org, which was one of the two websites, you will see that it's an activist organization based out of Washington, D.C. to promote generally two things: LGBTQ plus rights and activism, and even parades and ways to be an activist, for those stances, and then also abortion, standing up for women's right to choose, and basically those two. So, and this was in relation to giving people in our county information on how to handle an unplanned pregnancy. Well, nowhere on Power to Decide that I could find did it promote two other basic important choices to consider. One being adoption. If you're not ready to be a parent, adoption is something that you should consider. Put your child up for adoption. There's loving parents that want to be a parent. And then also promoting the resources from the county that are available to help you keep your baby. If you're food insecure, if you're emotionally insecure, if you're, housing or rent insecure, we have resources in the county to help take care of you. If you want to be a mom, but you think you can't afford it, we do have resources to help you consider keeping it. Abortion is not your only option. So when I made that plea to them to look at that, they looked at that and they agreed immediately, and they took that. They took, I think, 7 or 8 links down off the health department's website, which is links to powertodecide.org and bedsider.org. Now those two organizations are related, but there was a lot of very lewd material on there. F the Supreme Court. Just a lot of sex toys. There's different things on there that was disgusting and inappropriate to be promoting to the families of Ottawa County, that we can do a better job. And it also didn't promote all of the options. So I thought that was a disservice to not give all of the options versus, just promoting one, which was abortion. And so I didn't think that was right to do by the people. So my point is that I met with them. We came to an agreement. They course corrected immediately. They since have put in processes where websites cannot be linked to the county health department website without a manager's approval. That's great. I'm proud that's now happened because of these discussions, and hopefully that will prevent this from ever happening again.
Yeah, I love hearing that. That is exactly what we need going on with our health department. And some of they've probably made quite a few choices that neither one of us would agree with, and that's great to hear. Let's see. I'm looking at this. So going back to the health department budget and kind of what they're spending, a lot of their money on. I'm seeing let me find it real quick again. I got distracted by
what I would like to see happen is there is buy-in from the health department to return to what was requested pre-COVID budget scenarios.
Okay.
Look at 2019 versus what they're claiming is being requested to cut all the way down to 2.5 million, which would move them back into the 2009 era, right? And
yeah,
obviously, just real quick on that, we live in the fastest growing county, so we have had population increase, and that population is aging. So service requests are up. So we need to understand that we have a growing population and an aging population. We need to be able to provide these state-mandated services to those people. We have a lot of people that will be affected by cuts of this magnitude. So I think we need to be more realistic in what we are requesting. I think money can be saved, and I think they agree to that. So let's move forward together to accomplish that, because there's buy-in from both sides that could save over $1 million if we start having those conversations.
Yeah, and that'd be a great place to start. Have you been able to speak to any of the other commissioners about that, and have any of them signaled support for that?
I've reached out to corporate counsel to discuss this, because I don't get calls back. I don't get text responses back from the OI commissioners. So it's difficult. So I'm reaching through, you know, yes, but the other commissioners I absolutely talk to regularly,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of at a wait and see point to see now that they have the response from the health department that this would cut into state mandated services. Will they course correct, or will they double down to say do it anyway? And if we no longer provide state mandated services, I got to think that there's going to be a reaction from the state to not providing those services. And I would think that would come from MDHHS, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, where they would step in and try to make sure that our citizens are protected and provided the services that they pay taxes to be provided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to see that happen. I do not want to see Gretchen Whitmer's hand-picked bureaucrat step into Ottawa County to tell us how to govern.
Yeah, that I think that would go against everything that at least Ottawa Impact stood for, and I think that's a great goal. So can we just kind of shift to the so I really like everything that you're saying about the budget and the direction that's taking. I'm going to reach out to my own commissioner. She generally responds to me, and I've had a couple other Ottawa Impact commissioners respond to me, so I'm going to reach out to them about the budget. So with the
by the way,
go ahead.
I have not reached out to them about the budget. I just, communications have broken down. Where I recently texted the chair of talent recruitment, and she didn't even respond or acknowledge my text. So, hopefully this information will travel to them and they will reconsider their position.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do my best to get that to happen, because I think it's a really good place to start. And it would really anger a lot less people, I think, in our county. Maybe. So with the department that the commissioners are talking about implementing, for veterans, I know you had said that you think it would be better to sit down with a county that has an existing department, see what they need, and you had said you don't just want to create more cubicle jobs and not more services for veterans. Is that something? And can you just walk me through maybe what you're thinking that would look like?
Yeah, so what's really important to know is that we already have a Veterans Benefits Committee that's been operating for years in Ottawa County. And the person that handles it has their phone number public. And so if somebody needs access to a service or has a question of how to access a service, they call that number. Lauren answers it and has done this for years, and meets with them. They might meet at McDonald's, they might meet at an office, they might meet wherever, that type of thing. So that would be the biggest difference right now between us and, say, Muskegon, where they man an office. Okay, so Muskegon has space in Baker College where you can Google that and you can drive in there office hours, you can ring the doorbell, they'll come and meet with you and sit down and put you in front of a computer and all that. Lauren does that remotely right now for Ottawa County.
Okay.
And from what I can tell, it's been going, pretty smoothly. Now, is there opportunity to improve it? Absolutely. And I think Lauren's willing to do that, or willing to support, efforts to improve. Veterans benefits is important. And, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. And if we have gaps, let's look at them and see if it's worthwhile pursuing to, fix it. So I drove up, I talked with them up in Muskegon, and spent half of a day touring their facility and going through their budget with them. What I found is that they have a $450,000 budget. A lot of it's funded with grants. And they use that to pay for staff primarily. After you pay for staff and rent, to Baker College for the space, only about $100,000 annually actually goes out the door to help with rental assistance, food assistance, medical, different things that they might need.
Mm-hmm.
And they have people that come in and ask for all kinds of things. Hey, I'd like to have $1,000 to pay my rent so that I can go on a cruise. Well, no, we're not going to pay for you to go on a cruise. So, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they have ridiculous, requests. But they also had somebody that said, I'm going to be evicted tomorrow unless I get $600. Can you help me? And so that was the guy's name is Mark up there in Muskegon. He said, that was a scenario where my board has given me the authority to spend up to a certain amount of money without going to them for permission when I see fit. They trust my judgment to help veterans, in the moment up to a certain dollar amount. I have to track it. I have to, be accountable for it, but I can, turn around and issue and write a check to help somebody from being homeless, a veteran becoming homeless because of it. So he said, you don't really have that in Ottawa County where somebody can come in the same day and get a cut, of a check, get a cut. So now, is that a need that we have here? Do we have veterans that, does that happen once a year, twice a year? Do we need to spend $350,000 on infrastructure to provide for that 1 or 2 moments during the year? These are all questions that we need to weigh in and find out, what are the gaps? How significant are they? Is there, to me, a more efficient way that we could handle that? I know they're very proud of how they spend their money there. They feel they do a really good job with it, but I'm not trying to be critical of Muskegon because they've obviously, they work really hard and are professional in what they do. But I think we also desire and do a very good job with our veterans, and we don't necessarily have to do it the same way.
Okay, I appreciate that. Have you? Go ahead.
Their goal. So yeah, Joe Moss's, and I would say, I think this is coming from Sylvia, is that they want to hire a position to ask these questions. A new director. They want to create a new department. So, have a department director to then figure out what gaps exist. When I would say the more reasonable thing to do would be to engage our local stakeholders, meaning we have multiple people that work with Ottawa County veterans already. Right now, we're tracking between 30 and 50 homeless veterans in Ottawa County right now. But meet with them, ask them, and get a expert to do that without hiring a director and creating the bigger government infrastructure and cost associated with that. But have somebody come in, do an investigation, ask the questions, meet with the surrounding counties, and hire them to do that on a RFP, request for proposal. And once we get that project done, then determine, okay, well, these are the problems or the gaps that we would like to address. Let's now open up an interview process to hire a director that will be intelligent and experienced in these issues that we want to solve. I think just hiring somebody to send them in to go do all that and grow government, unnecessarily is not my preferred way to move forward. So I think there's a better plan, is my point. Both of them work to help veterans. That's important, but I think we have a better plan on how to go about that. So that's something I'm working on this weekend.
Okay. That's awesome. I appreciate your work on that. I was wondering, I don't remember if you mentioned, have you talked to veterans in Ottawa County? And what is, so yeah, that first.
Yes, and I believe Commissioner Zalstra is the only commissioner that's on that Veterans Benefits Committee.
Okay.
So he would be a very good resource to chat with further because he attends all of their meetings, but they have invited commissioners to join in, and I have accepted that. I believe I'm the only other commissioner that has made time for the veterans, in the Veterans Benefits Committee. I know that Joe and Sylvia have sat down with Lauren. I know from what I'm hearing, that Lauren isn't on the same page with Joe and Sylvia right now with what they're saying, and I think that needs to be addressed. I think that we need to, again, engage the veterans that are here in Ottawa County and continue to talk to them to say, of course, like let's say for veteran burials, you have to qualify for it, but even if you qualify for it, you're only getting $300. $300 doesn't buy much for a burial these days. So, if we have an extra, by the way, we just qualified for a significant grant. Don't quote me to this, but it's somewhere around an extra $100,000 that we can use in our budget that we've never had access to before. This is a place where Lauren could be given the authority to issue checks and help offset real expenses related to veterans in need and families in need, where instead of giving $300, maybe he could write a check for $3,000, and we would have the funds to do that now. We just need to sit down, organize that process, and give him the authority to do it.
Okay.
And that's not a heavy lift. We can do that.
Yeah, I think probably without a new department, that would be easy to manage.
Right.
So
yeah, and much less expense to the people of Ottawa County, because by the way, if we start another department and copy Muskegon, like what Sylvia said, well, Muskegon had to add a millage to pay for those people, and that meant higher property taxes to everybody who owns a home in Muskegon. So now it passed handily because people love their veterans.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just because we love our veterans, don't we want to leverage our funds in the highest and best way? Is it necessary to put that burden on the families when it's actually can be done a different way, more strategically, that without that extra burden on families? So, I don't think veterans want unnecessary burdens on their neighbors. So let's just see if, we can take care of our veterans and take care of our families.
Yeah, that'd be a great compromise there. So I did have one more thing I was wondering about. Back to kind of, sorry, I know I'm flip-flopping back and forth, but so the health department budget, there has been mention of like this being punitive toward the health department. I guess can you just talk about that, expand on kind of what you're thinking on it being a punitive action by the board?
Yeah, well, you have to look at it for what it is. So to the casual observer, the optics are horrible.
Yeah.
Because in the finance administration meeting just earlier, they said that Administrator Gibbs said asking for a 5% cut from departments in this short of a time frame, which is this budget cycle that we're working on right now, would not be advisable because it's too complex to pull off in a responsible way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I agreed with that, and he even offered, hey, let's bring in an outside expert to help with those discussions and pursue that because it's an important thing to pursue, but let's do it in the next budget cycle, not this one, so it's not rushed.
Okay.
That makes sense to me. That's measured, that's responsible, that makes sense to me. We're addressing it and we're moving forward. And then turned around the next day and wrote an email to the health department and said, we want you to provide us a new budget for your department where we're making much larger cuts than 5%. And, oh, by the way, you have to present it to us by end of business tomorrow.
Yeah.
How is that reasonable? And I'm a conservative, so I want conservative values to be welcomed and thought well of, but that appears punitive. I think that's where your word is coming from, that feels like that was, what was thought to be reasonable the day before is now, it feels like you're weaponizing a process to hurt a department in an extraordinary way, asking them to make 10 times the cuts in, a day and a half by end of business tomorrow. It just defies reason.
Okay. yeah, I appreciate your view on that, and I think that was really all I had, other than looking at this budget and breaking it down a little more. I'm actually going to be hopefully talking to someone from the health department though about that, and get a little bit better of a breakdown of it to see.
Well, I did watch. I haven't seen all of your podcasts. I've seen a bunch of them, but I did see one recently where you did say, hey, I do believe that Commissioner Bonema is a conservative, and I appreciate that, because I am.
Yeah.
I think there is, and by the way, I mean, you can look at my life, you can look at my children, you can look at, my decisions I've made. I've got a long track record of being a conservative and advocating for conservative values. And, the places that I have separated myself with Ottawa Impact have been because of business decisions, not because of principle positions. Places like the hiring of the Coleman Group. Okay.
Yeah.
When Joe wanted to hire the Coleman Group, I said, Joe, there are quite a few very well-known and authoritative, experienced attorneys here in Ottawa County that I think would be willing to turn in a proposal to be our in-house counsel. Why are we going to the Coleman Group in Lansing? They don't know our local stakeholders like these other groups do. And we need people who are competent in municipal government. And, God love the Coleman Group, and I appreciate what they do, but they are a religious liberties attorney firm. And we need municipal attorneys here, because, like, for me, I'm on the solid waste committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that committee deals with our landfills. And our landfills in Ottawa County, like Autumn Hills, is receiving waste from Kent County. And some of that waste contains contaminants like PFAS in it. And inside of our contracts are a lot of environmental law language that is designed to protect the citizens of Ottawa County, and how it covers the legacy cost of containing those contaminants, so that it doesn't poison our groundwater, kill our cows, and put our farmers out of business, right?
Yeah.
So when we have those contracts, these contracts that are being, extended to us from Kent County, I know Kent County has environmental law attorneys, municipal law attorneys, on staff. I want to make sure that we have the very best eyes, the most knowledgeable eyes, looking at those to protect our people. And I said, it's just like with doctors. We have a dentist who's a doctor, and we have a heart surgeon that's a doctor. They're both incredibly bright, intelligent people that you would trust your children with.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I would never ask my dentist to do my heart surgery, and I'd never ask my heart surgeon to do my dentistry.
Yeah.
It's out of respect to one another, and they wouldn't, so, when I talk to Jack Jordan, he's a very nice man. And, he's the kind of guy that I'd be happy to go on vacation with. We get along famously. But his experience in municipal government comes from Lansing, and almost 2 decades ago. The world has changed so much since then, right?
Yeah.
And I want to see locals. I want to keep our money here in Ottawa County with people who are competent. Conservative, yes. Ideologically, they get what we're trying to accomplish, yes. But competent to do the job, and that's where my concern is. And I've seen multiple moves now that are great cause of concern from their attorney firm. And now we are paying to train Lene. Did you know that we have a second attorney that shadows Jack Jordan around?
I did not.
Okay. So Lene is in and she's been there for a long time now.
Okay.
But I went to lunch with both of them. Again, very nice person. But she is an Ottawa Impact supporter, and she is being groomed to be the next in-house counsel from the Coleman Group to take over for Jack Jordan when Jack moves stays in Lansing and goes on to the next project. maybe he works for a school district or another county or, something like that. But the long-term plan is to not keep Jack Jordan here. It is to train Lene to be our new municipal in-house counsel. And she's an attorney, but she's never had any municipal training. She worked in insurance fraud law. She worked in insurance claims. Sure, that we have a little bit of that in Ottawa County, but that's not what we need. And we're paying Jack to educate her, to get her up to speed, when we have plenty of attorneys that are already up to speed, ready to work and do a fantastic job. So these are the kinds of decisions that I just disagree with. So I told Joe Moss before we hired the Common Group, I said, Joe, the optics on this are horrendous. The Commons are related to your business partner, and you're doing this in a no-bid contract. I said, conservatives don't like no-bid contracts. That's not conservative. He says, well, we don't have time to put it out for bid. I said, okay, so let's compromise. Let's do this as a temporary contract, put it out for bid, allow people to respond while working with the Common Group, so that you don't feel deprived of having the counsel that you need as chair to move forward, and then make a decision whether or not they are the attorney firm, the best fit for Ottawa County. Nope, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to hire them right now because that's what we got to do. I said, well, I can't support that because I don't think that's in the best interest of our people. And he said, well, you got to vote the way that you got to vote. And then he walked off. So I voted against hiring the Common Group. And then he puts another vote up to say we now need to vote to extend the contract of the Common Group. And I said, why would we vote to extend a contract from 2 years to 3 years when we don't even know if they're capable of doing the job yet? Who does that? What's the rush?
Yeah.
And they said, that's what we're doing. And so they voted that through, 6-5 again. And then on top of that, they said, now we're going to vote to make it harder to fire the Common Group. And I said, guys, I'm a business person. Business people like to have options. Why would I vote to have fewer options to fire a vendor? Why is that in the best interest of the people of Ottawa County?
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're the best people in the world, why would you vote to do that? That's what we're doing. So they pushed that through. So these are the places that, I've disagreed. I did not like the idea of, taking very competent people off the Housing Authority and then putting, big donors to Joe Moss on the Housing Authority. I thought that optically that was poor as well. There's different places where I've said, hey, it's not that these people are bad, but the processes are horrendous. We're not doing it right. This is not what good governance looks like. This is cronyism, and we hate it, and virtue signaling. We hate it when the other side does it. Why don't we police ourselves and make sure that we don't do it? So they don't turn around and point back and say, well, the other side does it, so we're going to do it. At some point, you just have to be the example. And I was really hoping to be the example of what good governance through conservative values looks like. And I'm going to continue to take arrows, from their side and other. I take arrows from both sides.
Yeah, you do.
And he likes to call me, a weak Republican. If what I'm doing is weak, news to me, because it's hard to be the guy that's advocating for responsible government from his own party. It's very frustrating. It's hard to be raked across the coals by your GOP. I love the GOP. I grew up loving Reagan and watching, what I felt like was a better set of options for the people. And now they're censuring me. And oh, by the way, they censured me without even meeting with me.
Mm-hmm.
The county party censured me after they found out that I was going to be away on business and miss that meeting. It was not on the agenda. They added it to the agenda after they found out I was not going to be in attendance, and then voted to censure me. They did not want me there to be able to defend myself.
Yeah, that's... And I really... I was hopeful when they were elected, and my hope has dwindled a little bit. just in what they're doing, because of things like that. Yeah, and it's weird because I see a lot of the people that support them. All of a sudden they were like, Jacob Bonham is a traitor and he is just the worst. And I'm like, wait, what? When did this happen? And yeah, I see what you're talking about. And
because I am not their enemy.
No,
I am not. There's enemy out there. I'm not it.
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely in Ottawa County we're getting far too focused on people that we have minor disagreements with, and I think we're gonna have problems with major disagreement people soon because of that. I'm not seeing the possibility that a lot of the Ottawa Impact people get reelected next time around. So yeah, that's just been I think you've got a pretty decent chance. It seems like most of the people that are angry with you are other counties or other districts. So yeah, I don't know. And
I work for my people, my 28,000. I stay close to them. I've got a big community event tonight with them again. I'm out and I'm doing the work. I'm getting in my car. I'm driving up. I'm to Muskegon. I'm doing, I'm trying to get to the real information and say, hey, we can work together. And I think the people want that. They want to see us work together. Be reasonable.
Yeah.
We don't need to cut 80%. We can have a cut and save $1 million this year. And all be happy with one another and move forward. That's nothing. That's a big accomplishment. Let's do that. Where we have issues in the health department, let's not wage war on them, but get to the table and say, hey, look at the content on these websites. We can fix this. Yeah, we can fix this, and it's fixed, right? So we can say, I'm very proud on what happened with the fire foam. That was something that it's not a sexy thing, but if anybody watched the news and saw that explosion in East Palestine, Ohio, of what that looks like, and once you find out that we have trains that go through Ottawa County and downtown Zealand even that are capable of that type of behavior and poisoning and hitting the leveling a community, if they would have had fire foam in their fire departments, they would have been able to put those fires out much faster. Instead, they're putting water on chemical fires, and that just spreads it and doesn't do a whole lot of good. So we were able to identify that problem, get that ordered, so that's on its way. That's a public safety thing, and that's a gap that existed before we got here, and now it's no longer there. We worked really hard to shine light on broadband and how important that is to the community. We put together the very best proposal that we possibly could for that huge grant and did not get chosen for it, but we now have everything in place to go for that grant again as it's coming up again. There's more chances for it. So we will work towards that. I think we got community buy-in to improve Wi-Fi across the country and our county, I should say. And that's important because wherever there's poor internet, property values decline. Property values pay for schools, pay for roads, pay for clean rivers and streams, property. So we want to protect our property values and our businesses. So, there's a lot of things that we could be focusing on, but instead it's all this chaos of they're going to shut down the health department or they're going to hire this young man that's not even a year out of college, and pay him $6 figures. It's just a giant distraction when conservative values could be implemented in ways that would be really meaningful and responsible and helpful to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you on that. I was looking at Jordan and I'm like, maybe not the best move, but yeah.
Well, Jordan, there was, I think, 30 total applicants, and, the breakdown that I think was reported in the Holland Sentinel talked about, the different qualifications of some of the other people. I know there's been a FOIA request because it's been pretty well documented that this is one of the main reasons why the deputy county administrator left. Patrick Waterman left was because of this breaking of policy, hiring Jordan and ignoring very competent, qualified people in order to usher Jordan in. And and I think the entire hiring committee was not supportive of it, is my understanding, and those emails I think will eventually come out and substantiate that. But was it necessary? You know, I mean, I'm not saying don't hire Jordan. There's probably a place in county government for him. You know, young, talented, willing to serve. Let's find a place. We have needs, but to make him in John Gibbs' words, chief of staff. That's how John Gibbs is viewed, the chief of staff to the county. You're asking somebody who's not even a year out of college with no municipal experience to now be the person that's in between all you and all of your directors, where these directors with decades of experience have to convince a 23-year-old why their issue is important and needs to be heard by the administrator. You think that that's going to be a successful work environment? You know, and that's not even talking about the contentious and divisive social media posts that he made not years ago. I mean, I keep hearing teenage tweets. No, I mean, last summer he was talking about being on a 5-day bender, you know, and talking about things like, you know, I think the one about shaming women. You got to bring Eastern European women here to shame American women to make them lose weight.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff is, people don't forget that, you know? So I agree, young men do young men things. But yeah, and I'm all about second chances. You know, some people deserve second chances. Fewer people deserve third chances. But you know, to put him in this high of a position at this stage of his life, I don't know that. And this is one of the first big decisions that John Gibbs has been making on his own. I don't think that speaks well of John Gibbs.
Yeah, and again, I asked for some of the other, for my commissioner specifically, to justify that, and she didn't really do that, and that's another reason that I'm kind of just skeptical of their chances, really, because anybody that isn't fanatically supporting, like, you can make a good case that Holland Sentinel really hates them and has for a long time. I do not. I'm skeptical of some of the decisions that they make, and yet they're not really willing to talk to even me and have some of these questions asked. So just
if you're for the Constitution, you know, look at the First Amendment. You know, the second part of the First Amendment is freedom of the press.
Yeah.
And the press is there to provide a service to the public, to ask questions that the public wants to know the answer to, but doesn't necessarily have the time or the means to ask.
Yeah.
Right? That's the value. And they provide, you know, accountability in a lot of ways. You know, and sometimes it's absolutely one-sided and it's unfair and you get